Hey everybody, welcome to this session. My name is Pierce Eugene Wall and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Knack. Today we're going to be going through my session, Totally Rad Email Design. And now I know the question you're probably thinking after seeing me in this outfit is, are these slides going to be available after the session? And the answer is yes, they will. But yeah, just to give a little background, why am I dressed like this? Well, number one, I was super excited about the 80s theme. And I thought back to when I was a kid playing one of the first video games I ever played. It was on my neighbor's computer and it was MS-DOS. That's how long ago this was. Right around the same time that I got my first email address. So I thought it would be a fun way of going through the presentation. And in that game, you could go snowboarding, you could use the inner tubes, and there was a ski shop called Rodney's. And this Rodney guy, he really helped you. He was like your ski instructor in the game to make sure that you didn't have a bad time. And really, that's me for email. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips today on email design and help you make totally rad emails. So we have 4 different sections we're going to go through today: future trends, design, engagement, and dark mode. And this is going to be a ton of fun. So, the goal today is to make sure that you can kind of go from these people, if this is where you're at, which is kind of really bad, and get to this person. I think that might be my mom wearing this ski outfit. Totally rad. All right. So we're going to find out, where are your emails today? Are they really bad or totally rad or somewhere in between? But by the end of this, they're going to be totally rad. So let's get started. Before we even get to one of the sections, it's like when you go skiing, you need to do your pre-send checklist. And it's no different for emails, because it doesn't matter how good your design is if nobody opens your email. So let's look here at the pre-send checklist, totally rad. These are really the ingredients you need when you're looking at crafting your subject line and your preview text. Every single one of these elements is going to help you get that opened, okay? And the open is the first battle that we need to overcome. It's like putting on our ski equipment. So let's look at really bad. I've got a lot of examples that we're going to go through today. This is the first example of really bad. Look at this preview text, right? View this email in your browser. This is like the most valuable real estate in the inbox. And if you're wasting it with view this email in your browser, you're going to have a bad time and it's going to impact your open rates. Now, let's look at another really bad example on the sender display name. This is also a big ingredient to get your emails open. In this case, there was no sender display name defined. And so what ends up happening is that it uses the email address that you send this from. In this case, it's basically illegible. So really bad, don't do those things. Make sure you have a great subject line and make sure you use the preview text to your advantage. Now let's look at a totally rad subject line. This is from my friend Fod at Unicorn Labs, but I love this. Like, most teams suck at communication, and trust falls aren't going to fix it. My mind immediately thought of the fail videos of people doing the trust fall and their teams not even catching them. And so I clicked on this immediately to see if that's what was in the email. And it was a great email. They got me for sure. This is another great one from Stripe. Is usage-based pricing right for your business? I love the question here. It makes you think. It kind of adds some curiosity. And then what are you going to get? A guide to usage-based pricing. So this is a great example. They've nailed the pre-send checklist. And everything here really made me want to click, especially because it was a relevant topic. We're going to talk more about that later. Phil Rivers, if you don't follow Phil, do it. This guy is awesome. But like I was saying before, Phil says, I don't care how good your emails are. If your subject lines suck, nobody's going to read them. So we're going to go over some great email design tips today, but don't ignore your subject line, your preview text, your sender display. It's so important. All right, I pulled out some of the most retro PowerPoint templates I could find for this. And let's get into some future trends here, okay? So iOS 18, right? This is a thing now. And what does that mean? It means that all of the emails on iOS devices, which is pretty much like every phone in the world, is now going to be categorized, much like Gmail is. And so what does this mean for you marketers? Well, it means that you really have to do everything that you can to get into the best category. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples here of what that could look like. And let's not forget, when somebody subscribes to your newsletter, signs up for your content, that is literally the most interested they're ever going to be. So don't lose this opportunity. Harry's newsletter, this is another awesome one. Subscribe to it if you're not already. But in his welcome email, he just tells you exactly what he wants you to do. He says, please reply to this email with, hey, Harry, to make sure you actually get the emails. And what he's doing there is by replying to an email, that is a signal to all of the email clients that, hey, you actually care about this recipient, and your client is going to prioritize getting that person's email into your actual inbox and not into some category that you only look at twice a year when you just go to delete everything. For Knack, when we onboard a new customer, we use this opportunity to really get to know the customer. And this is me. I'm actually chugging maple syrup. I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm Canadian. It's getting cold here. That's another reason for the jacket. But, you know, in this one, we're trying something different. Again, we're trying to stand out. We're trying to get them to click. This email had like a 4 times higher click-through rate than our other emails that we send out. So get creative, try things, take risks, and then use the data to help you prove to do more of those kinds of things. Everybody who's on Spotify probably knows about the wrapped emails that they do. In the future, and what we're seeing right now is hyper-personalization is huge. Nobody has really done this better than Spotify, where they're taking all of your information and customizing an email directly to you. I do realize this email is from 2016, but they've kind of moved away from these a little bit to more of an in-app experience. But I always loved these ones when they included everything in the email. Miro, this is another company that does a great job with emails. I love their animated GIF that they have around personal there. And also, again, they're using data that they have about you to identify sessions that they think you're really going to like. And obviously, that's going to help ensure more click-throughs on this particular email. So great job to Miro there. This is an email that I got the other day from Mutiny. I love how they did this. Again, it's a very simple email. There's actually no design, which I always like to recommend a mix of great, beautiful HTML emails and text only. They both serve their purposes. And here they're kind of saying, hey, we're giving away the ABM strategy. There's this bit of curiosity in here where it's like, hey, go in here and you can actually look at what we have on you for Knack. So really kudos to Mutiny. They killed it on this one. Another future trend that we're seeing when you look at personalization In order to really do personalization at scale, you need to have a specific design for your email that accommodates that. So in this case here, you can see all of the modular designs that North Face has done. So if we look at that one in the middle there with the backpack, they could very easily swap that out with another product that they have data on you that would be more relevant to you. And same goes for all of the other elements in their emails. So just a couple other good examples here. You can see again, really easy to swap things in and out and personalize depending on the recipient. Okay, this is a future trend, but it's also kind of a retro one that I know a lot of people did, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on this. And this is personalized email signatures. So everybody in your company who is sending out emails can be a marketer for you. And before, I know this was very challenging to do. You know, the marketing team sends around banners to everybody to put in their signature. Some put them in, some don't. Some are from 10 years ago. But with new tools, something like an exclaimer that actually integrates directly with your Salesforce instance, you could have tailored email signatures based on the person who's receiving it. So, you know, maybe it's a customer that you know has a high NPS score. Get them to leave a review, like in this case, and everybody who emails your customers could have something like that on there. So really cool application that you can do. I love this tweet by Brian Halligan, one of the co-founders of HubSpot, but he's just kind of showing, you know, how email has evolved over time from one to many, one to few, and now with AI and other tools, going to one. And that's really all about the personalization that I've highlighted here in my examples. So let's get to design. I love email design. I've done entire sessions on this before. Last year, I went through my Cheetah framework. You know, this is Nick, the Knack Cheetah. At Knack, we really like to help our customers move quickly and build emails super fast so that they can test and get better results. But the Cheetah framework is all about how you can use a consistent framework to design amazing emails. If you want to get deeper into this, you could check out some of my other sessions. But this is really the framework. So captivate, human, entertain, easy, transitions, animate, and harmony. All of these things work together to make incredible emails. And I'm going to show you an example of this in action right now. So this is a great email that Salesforce put together. And I'm going to just point out a couple of things that I think they did really well. So again, you can tell they followed the pre-send checklist. You know, Salesforce events, that's their sender display name, tells you exactly the context for that email. You know, very controversial maybe, but subject line, that is going to grab your attention, right? We all get a ton of emails. That is going to stand out, and that's what you need in the inbox. Also love that they called it a virtual event. Webinars are very boring. Nobody wants to sign up for a webinar. And this just kind of modernizes the webinar channel. One other thing, right? Animate. So they've used this locked up as a GIF, which is playing in your inbox and really captivating you, you know, getting you wondering, what is that actually going to say? There's a beautiful transition on this banner, right? They didn't just do a straight across line. They added some visual appeal. They made it human. And when you go to click to register on this email, it brings you to a very similar landing page. You know that you're in the right spot. So great job by Salesforce on this one. And hopefully this gives everybody a good idea of the Cheetah framework in action. Okay. When it comes to email design, I love buttons. So I've got quite a few slides on them here, but this is a little thing, but you can do so much with them. So here's an example. I have no idea why that register now button is like in another area code on the right there, but maybe they're doing A/B testing. Personally, I think this is really bad. On mobile, that's going to be much further for the thumb to click. On desktop, it's just weird that it's there. So wouldn't recommend doing this. Here's another one. I just don't like buttons that kind of go into two different spaces. I like to keep all of them on one space. Shout out to Mopsapalooza. Not saying that that's a really bad event. It's actually a rad event. And then this one, I didn't redact the name of this company because it is my law firm and they are great. But their color contrast is really not great because I'm always looking for like, where do I click the sign button here? It just kind of blends in. For any of you who might be struggling with this, Canva has an awesome tool where you can go in and pick your complementary color. Okay, so that's the color that is the most different than your primary color. And you would see here, I'm not a huge fan of this brown that it picked, but it is the easiest contrast to see. All right, another one on buttons. I really like Adobe's button hierarchy here. So you can tell they have two calls to action in this email going to the same email, but the first one is a solid blue button, and then the second is a more transparent one with just really the outline. And so again, that's kind of showing you the hierarchy of the buttons there. That's something that you might want to try, especially if you have multiple calls to action. Having a few different button hierarchies are great. If you want to learn more about buttons, UI Adrian on Twitter is amazing. This is a great follow. He has tons of resources just on buttons. So I would recommend checking that out. I am obsessed with this button. As everybody here probably knows, there's a lot of limitations to what you can do in email design, but this button design is actually fully possible and supported in Apple Mail. So you can do all of this with CSS. You can check out Ryan Mulligan's website. He has an awesome blog on how to do this, but this is really sick, totally rad button design. When we talk about design, so much of it is about consistency. I've worked with a lot of designers over the years, and they're super talented designers, but they love always trying new things. And especially at Knack, you know, we're still a relatively small company. We want to be building our brand, building that repetition over and over again. And I think Southwest does an amazing job of this. You can see they kind of have their three colors everywhere, from their profile picture, which I love the heart there, to the banners. They really use it over and over again. And even the little touch in their email address that they send from, ilovesouthwest.com. Kudos to them on that. Totally rad. Here are some design trends that we're seeing right now from this study that we pulled. Really cool here in terms of what people are doing. I personally always like to look at what are people not doing so that we can stand out, but some good stats here on kind of some different trends people are doing for their design. Okay. So we've talked just about design now. We've seen some really bad and totally rad examples. Now, like, the whole purpose of your actual email is to get it clicked. We've come a long way. You know, people have opened your email, they've looked at it, they like it. Now, the most important thing is to get engagement. So here's some tips on that. I said this last year, and I do want to just reiterate it. Nobody cares about your blog or your website or your event. You need to tell them why they should care, and it should really be about them. Things that you know about them, and having a really compelling call to action in the first place. So, love this example by Linktree. I think everybody is always curious about how they stack up, how they compare to others. Linktree has a good example here. See how you stack up. Vimeo does a great example just about their CTA. It's super clear. Try it free. The GIF kind of shows you what you're going to even be able to do in their product. It's all really crisp and easy to see what it's all about. I love the copy that Skillshare has here. It's very human. It's very much about the benefit that the recipient is going to get in this email. Great example. And then, you know, there are visual cues, visual hierarchies, and here you can see my guess is you read that in the order that they predicted you will. So use that to your advantage on what you want people to have as an experience as they go through your emails. Some simple examples, that this little arrow in the Zoom email shows you where they want you to look, right? And they're using the headline for you to read that first, then the arrow. So they're really guiding you through the experience. Nice example here. And I always like to think about the X factor when it comes to my emails. So you want to have a compelling email. You want to get people interested. You want it to be about them. But then what's that last kicker that you can give to them to get them to register? And so in this case, we said, hey, register today and you could win one of 50 of Anne Hanley's new books, right? Signed, which you can't even just go out and buy. Now, we want to do another giveaway for this same book. So I have 50 copies. So if you want one, we will send one to you for free. The first 50 people to post on LinkedIn one thing that they've learned from this session and tag me and Knack, and we will mail you a brand new book, Everybody Writes. Okay, dark mode. We're going to rip through this. Dark mode is hard, everybody. Okay, here's an example. Different email clients change your emails. You really need to test and make sure that your code is rock solid for dark mode, because 35% of opens are now happening in dark mode, and you don't want your email to look like this. You don't want your buttons to look like this. Literally hurts my eyes to be looking at these. You want them to look like this. And that's all about the code and optimizing for dark modes in the different email clients. Uber does an amazing job with this. This stuff is super technical, more technical than I understand, but it has to do with image opacity and how you're coding this for the different exceptions across the different email clients. So I know that we ripped through that. We went quickly. If you want to learn more, you can download a full guide on the definitive guide to creating kick-ass emails, or totally rad emails. Much more detailed. You can find that by scanning this QR code. And also, please follow me, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk about all things Guru, all things email. Would love to connect with you there. If you type in Pierce U, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one with that combo. So yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. And we have made it. We have made it to the bottom of the mountain. We did some totally rad things together today. I hope everybody appreciated it and enjoyed it and found something valuable. This is a mullet. It's business in the front, party in the back. We took care of business today. Now we can go and party. But thank you for spending some time with me today. Enjoy the rest of your conference. And before that, we're going to do a live Q&A. So ask those questions and I'll be happy to answer them.